I don't know if you guys have seen this yet. This is a game called Bodycam, and it's wild. The video that we're watching here is by Big Fry TV. We've watched him before. He made a video on Bodycam. I don't know what he has to say about it or anything like that. I've seen some gameplay of it. It is wild. You'll see. You'll see. It looks real. It looks real. So yeah, you'll see.
This is the most realistic FPS I've ever played.
Like, look at the recoil. So one of the big things for me here is it's very hard to tell if you've actually killed the person you're shooting at. Like, it looks, which is, I guess, more realistic, right? Like, look at this. He's in a forest. Are you kidding me? I can't even tell who he's shooting at. Again, the game's called Bodycam. I don't know why some of the faces are blurred. I don't know why.
Bodycam has a playtest going on right now. If you're unfamiliar with what Bodycam is, it's the realistic bodycam FPS that isn't unrecord, but is essentially the same thing, but multiplayer PvP with a few different game modes on a few different maps. So I grabbed a few friends, jumped in, and you know, for an early look at an alpha, I thought it was pretty cool, but basically played and looked the same as when I played it last. I think with a lot of love and care, it can really turn into something, and it's coming out next week.
Oh.
It's
coming out next week. I actually, like, literally June the 7th.
Now, granted, Bodycam is launching into early access on June 7th. And honestly,
early
the
access.
game is just kind of okay right now, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong.
So I think the hard thing with a game like this is it's so realistic. How do you make it fun? Like, there's no HUD. Like, how do you know what the score of the game is? Like, you have to, like, making a game out of something so realistic, I think would be very, very difficult.
Some issues with lobbies and grouping and the general kind of UI.
Oh yeah, the UI
I
looks terrible.
Can't click anything. What the hell?
You know, my screen's all like fuzzy. It won't let me do anything. I think
Yeah, the UI is horrible. It's worse than Call of Duty HQ.
All right, I can't actually pick anything. I got Alt F4.
Oh, do we have to
I do. I don't know about you guys, but
oh, you crashed my game by Alt F4ing. We love that,
dude. Love that for us, bro. Why do I always end up back in windowed?
Oh yeah, it reverts all my settings.
Oh,
Bro,
I have to go through all my settings again.
Actual dog shit. The game itself is definitely serviceable at this point.
So that's the thing. It's like chat's saying, like, imagine if Call of Duty had this type of realism, and like, sure, but also it wouldn't be Call of Duty. Like, you have to realize part of what makes Call of Duty fun is that it's not realistic. Like, that's why I always hear these realism arguments with like the skins and stuff, and you can argue that till you're blue in the face. Feel free, but like, it wouldn't be a fun game. Like, that's what I'm saying. How do you make a realistic game fun? That is, someone that figures that out will make a very good video game.
Be ready to have to play quite a few games to actually get the hang of the player controller. It is a completely different experience. Bringing some people into the fray with me after the first two games, they weren't really enjoying it.
Up top.
Imagine this in VR though.
On me.
I'm pretty sure they're shooting at the ground.
Oh, nice.
The gun spray.
I hate this game.
Okay,
honestly.
what you said, the Shiny said, is it too much to ask to have a realistic graphics and environment, but the accessibility and fun element of COD? So let's go back here for a sec. Let's go back to, is there a good screenshot we can get here?
Me.
Not a great one.
I hate this game. Honestly.
One sec, I'll pause it in a second. There. No, okay, or not.
Controls, the worst fucking movement ever.
But if you give it,
Okay, take this for example. Super realistic, amazing forest. First of all, you can't see anyone. So this comes out as a map in Call of Duty. Everyone's going to be like, oh, this is the map where everyone sits in bushes and you can't see anyone. Can we put red outlines around them? Can we make the colors pop more? Can we do this? Can we do that? And then you're going to add a mini map up here. You're going to add a score down here. You're going to add how much ammo you have down here, and you're going to add a kill feed. All of a sudden, it doesn't look realistic anymore. That's why Call of Duty doesn't have this. It's not that I don't think Call of Duty could do this. It's that it doesn't work in Call of Duty.
Give it time and you actually start to kind of learn the player controller, learn the aiming. It is janky at first, but once you start to learn it, it actually is pretty unique and it's serviceable for sure. There were multiple times where we were trying to group up, start a lobby, and I just couldn't choose maps as a host. There's just a lot of UI and UX issues requiring us to Alt F4, restart up, regroup up, and jump back in. The game feels like it's kind of put together with duct tape with all of these different systems. But once you get into a game itself,
you got to remember how many bullets are in your mag.
Visuals, I mean, you guys are seeing on screen here, very realistic, very cool. The audio is some of the best that I have heard in an FPS when it comes to that realistic, like ear-ringing guns and bullets ricocheting, shell casings dropping and hitting the floor next to you.
And that's impressive for a smaller studio.
As realistic as they come if you were looking for that body cam style gameplay. The maps, on the other hand, are fucking dog shit. Tumblewood, the forest level, is literally unplayable in my opinion. There's no visible map landmarks or boundaries.
So this is exactly what I'm saying. When a game becomes too realistic, it's no longer fun. So this map has no landmarks. There's just a bunch of trees. And yeah, it's super realistic. It looks like you're fighting through a forest. But one, how do you see people? And two, how do you know where you're going? Like, it just doesn't work.
Just kind of in a forest. Like, the only landmark I guess you could say would be this cliffside over here, but that's it. And because there's no map boundaries, you can just end up running into the forest and then hitting an invisible wall. And I will say, like, just looking at this map through this body cam, everything's so fucking dark. There's different, like, times of day and stuff like that, but I found as we played through the map and the time of day switched, the weather switched, it was just really hard to play that fucking map through the lens of a body cam. The best map in the game right now is the Warren House, in my opinion, because there's clear lanes, there's clear callouts. You can be outside, you can be on the roof, second floor, first floor. There's a semblance of a map here.
So I'm assuming what we're watching here is the character playing has died, and then you were watching a head cam of someone on your team who's playing, and you can see that they've got 0 kills, 1 death, and their score. I'm assuming
lends itself well enough to TDM or objective-based gameplay. The Airsoft House is a cool looking map, but I will say, trying to figure out the player controller while aiming through these small windows, it's a little bit of a tough map to get used to. If you're just don't start on this map, jump into it at a later point when you have the basic mechanics nailed. But yeah, the game is going to early access on June 7th, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit shocked about. I want to go through their store page
this weekend. We
talk
probably won't be
about
playing that.
what this game is,
Maybe next
where
week.
it's at right now, and where they want to take it in the future. So if you guys don't know, this game is only developed by 2 developers, a 17 and a 20-year-old, which is actually insane. It's being built on Unreal Engine 5.
Okay, that's
and,
cool.
According to what they say, they have pushed the boundaries of photorealism, and I actually agree. This is one of the most realistic looking
good for them. I don't even care if the game
market.
sucks. Good
now,
for them.
Here's where things get a little bit weird for me, because they anticipate that bodycam will be in early access for about 6 to 12 months, depending on community feedback and the improvements we want to make.
There's 2 of them.
That's always a red flag for me. 6 to 12 months in early access.
There's 2 of them,
when
dude.
You have a game that is this early is I just don't believe it. Don't think you're going to be done this game in a year. I hope you don't.
True,
because there's a lot of things that you're going to need to do to take this game to a level where I would hope the developers want to take it, in which people are coming back day in and day out to play the game. So the current state of early access gives you 3
hope those
game
2
modes.
get really, really rich.
10 players, team deathmatch, which is 5v5, and then you have the competitive body
he's
bomb
in the outhouse.
mode 5v5, which we played a couple of times, but we didn't really understand. Like, I think you can plant the bomb anywhere on the map. We were a little confused by how that worked. We weren't a big fan of it. You have shotguns, submachine guns, assault rifles, flashbangs.
Dude, it looks so
grenades,
realistic.
with
Even the way that the
weapons planned
players run on the
post-release.
roof.
But then when you talk about like how the full version is going to be planned to differ from the early access version. They say currently the early access version is in an advanced state of development with exceptional graphics and smooth and intuitive gameplay. So that didn't really answer the question, like, what's the game going to look like
they do have a
in
HUD,
a year's time?
but
You say you're
only-
going to be in early access for 6 to 12 months. What's the full version going to look like? For me, dude, you guys
Only
need
at
to
the
give
end of
us
rounds.
something to work towards and play the game, because the aesthetic of the body cam experience, like, that will wear.
So what he's saying is kind of what I was saying, is there's no game to the game. Like your rank and things like that. There's no game in the game. And I saw a title for a video. It was for what was that game that just came out? It was the Xbox exclusive that just came out. Anyway, it was a video title that said this game forgot to be fun. And I think a lot of games do that.
Very quickly. Players are going to play for, 5, 10, 15 hours, and then that's really going to be it if there's nothing to do. Are there ranks in the game? Are there
Hellblade,
going to
yes,
be,
thank you.
Is there going to be cosmetics? Are you, like, what are you actually going to be doing in the game outside of just jumping in and team death matching with your friends? Which, by the way, like, we had a decent time, but by the end of the night, it was just like, yeah, like, we've seen everything the game has to
Yeah,
offer.
it's more so
And
just like a cool
I would hope the
experience.
developers don't want that to be the case when the game comes out. I don't quite know what the price is going to be either, but, like, what's going to keep people in this ecosystem? Or is that your intent? Are you just wanting to put a cool little project out, charge, I don't know, $5-10, and
That's
then,
what they should
like,
do.
That's it? Like, what's the actual plan, and what are we going to end up doing in this game? Because right now, I would say that you're probably
Oh, the
in an
price for
alpha
this is
state.
$29?
If you're going to early access, 6 to 12 months. Chances are the game is never going to get
Is
out
that
of that
true?
alpha feeling state, because there's just a lot of things that you have to do. So with that, I'm sitting here thinking, like, okay, the body cam gimmick, it works. It definitely works, but I think that gimmick is going to wear on people very, very quickly if you don't come with a steady slew of content, updates, patches, and a game that can actually facilitate, longevity and long-term gameplay. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of indie developers make. And for a game like this, Unreal Engine 5, a unique player experience, I think you guys should shoot for the moon here, and instead of, looking to get it done in a year, really take your time and
Interesting.
craft this with
So the problem
community.
is when you have such a development team working on something like this, like, say this game takes them 3 years to actually finish and make into a game. By the time they're done, there's going to be another studio with more people who have made this game.
Get a nice slew of content coming
probably
in,
made a
different
better
maps,
game of
different
it.
game modes. I don't know if you're wanting to do things like character customization. I do think that you kind of need it. But yeah, there's a lot of things that I'm not confident that the developers are thinking about when I
Yeah, if I was them, I would take this game, I would release it for $5, say this is a fun thing to play, maybe hop on here and there once a month or something like that. We'll throw in updates every once in a while, add a new map, this, that, or the other thing, but this is just a cool experience for you to have. That's the way I would do it.
look at this page. But as a game itself, it's cool. Like, I didn't think I would like the body cam player controller movement as much as I do. Like I said, when you first jump in, you're going to be thrown for a loop. But I am curious to see what the community thinks when the game launches next week. Let me know your thoughts down below.
that'll be
Leave a like on
interesting.
the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more FPS content. My name is Big Fry, and I'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, I that's pretty much what I think of that game. It's hard to make a realistic game. It's hard to make a realistic anything.